What's good? It's Boy Dude Reviews, and 2019 is coming to an end. And what a roller coaster ride it has been for cinema and movies. It's been one interesting year when it came to films being released in the cinema. Some were amazing, some were terrible, and some were just, what were these makers thinking? So I've decided to look back and give my top 10 best, favorite, yet surprising movies of 2019. This list is basically all the movies I saw in this year in the cinema that I thought exceeded my expectations to way great lengths. So movies I went into the cinema not thinking too much on or had negative feelings towards, but ended up loving it and just feeling so much better about the film altogether. I will try and not spoil these films, to be honest with you, because I'm not a spoiler, and even if I won't spoil it. So most of these movies I've already reviewed on my channel, so you've probably seen it, but some of them will be the first time I'm talking about it, so I'll try and be spoiler free and spoiler friendly because I'd like you guys to watch them. And even if you have seen these films, I still won't spoil it because there are people watching this channel who haven't seen some of these films and it's not cool to spoil it, so I'm going to be on the safe side and not spoil it. So let's go on with the countdown. Number 10, Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Now, a Dora the Explorer film being good. I'm not saying this film was amazing and it was Oscar worthy, but my gosh, did it exceed my expectations. Having spent most of her life exploring the jungle, nothing could prepare Dora for her most dangerous adventure yet, high school. Accompanied by a ragtag group of teens and Boots the monkey, Dora explores on a quest to save her parents while trying to solve the seemingly impossible mystery behind the lost Incan civilization. And this film was obviously directed by James Bobbin, and it stars Isabella Moner as Dora the Explorer alongside other characters and people and all that lot. And what surprised me with this film was that I saw the trailer and I looked at the production designs and I was like, it looks like a direct-to-TV movie. But what I liked about this film was that the characters were also damn enjoyable. The Isabella Moner as Dora was so funny and just really lovable and enjoyable, and you just really liked her as a character and a person, and I also liked the dude who played Diego, Jeff Wallenberg as Diego. Like, I thought he was really cool as well. How even though he had all these adventures with his cousin Dora when they were kids, now that he's all grown up and he's living in high school, he's trying to not, he's trying to fit in. And I don't know, I just like that whole high school element about it, and just how Dora, reacts and, how she feels about, this new world. And it's just so interesting seeing all this, and then getting her high school chums and going on the adventure, I just thought was really, it just surprised me basically. I didn't expect this film to be so funny and just enjoyable, and Isabella Moner's story was just so funny. I just, every time she was on screen, I thought, I want to see more of her as Dora, and just it wasn't an amazing film. I mean, it's not one I'd watch again and again, but it is one I'd watch just to see her as Dora because she was really funny and great, and go check it out. I'd recommend it. Number 9, Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Now, before I watched this film, obviously in the cinema, I never really got into Pokemon. I'm sorry, but growing up, I never really liked Pokemon. I mean, I was at that age, and growing up in the 2000s, I was surrounded by Pokemon people, people who were obsessed with Pokemon, and I just never got into it. I was just like, it's not my thing. I don't know why, but I just never got into Pokemon. And when I saw this movie, the trailer, I didn't really think much about it. I was like, oh, Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, oh, cute, yeah, whatever. I didn't really think much about this film. But then I was like, let's go watch it. Let's go see what it's about. And in all honesty, this film kind of in a way blew me away, to be honest with you, because of how imaginative and inventive it was. And ace detective Harry Goodman goes mysteriously missing, prompting his 21-year-old son Tim to find out what happened to him. Aiding in the investigation is Harry's former Pokemon partner, wisecracking adorable super sleuth Detective Pikachu. Find that they are uniquely equipped to work together, as Tim is the only human who can talk with Pikachu. They join forces to unravel the tangled mystery, and that's all I'll say about this film, because the mystery goes a bit crazy and it's really interesting. And what a awesome film this was. It was directed by Rob Letterman and stars like Ryan Reynolds, Justice Smith, and a whole lot of other people as well. And the thing I liked about this film was just how interestingly amazing Pikachu was. Just how I wasn't expecting him to be this like interesting, and even like the son Tim was really cool, and I liked those two's kind of like buddy relationship. I thought it was really cool. The world in this film looks amazing, like the world where all like the Pokemon live. It just looks so awesome and amazing and cool. And I liked how all these like Pokemons, your favorite Pokemons that you guys obviously, if you're a Pokemon fan, know, being translated onto the big screen. I thought, because I've seen some of these in like in the anime and like the games, and just seeing them, it's like, oh wow, they did a good job, redesigning these characters. And the story isn't too bad either, I really was digging it, and I really liked I just liked the visual look, basically. And just looking at this film, this looked amazing. It was really pretty, The story was also pretty gripping, I have to admit, surprisingly. And yeah, even the climax was actually really good. They didn't have to go all out, but my gosh, did they go all out. And I give it credit. It was a really fun movie. It's a fun movie, and I'll definitely check it out again. And I kind of do hope there's a sequel, because I want to see a bit more of these characters in. So, and now that we know what's happened, there's a bit of twists and turns in this film, and it will have an effect on the next films, I feel like, and I would like to see where it goes. But yeah, check this film out. Number 8, Frozen 2. Now, I know early on this year I did say that Frozen 2 was one of the best films of this year, but looking back, I mean, it's good, but there are problems with this film. But I will tell you what I like about this film. And before I tell you, what was the film all about? Well, so like Elsa the Snow Queen has an extraordinary gift, the power to create ice and snow, but no matter how happy she is to be surrounded by the people of Arendelle, Elsa finds herself strangling, unsettled. After hearing a mysterious voice calling out to her, Elsa travels to the enchanted forest and dark seas beyond her kingdom, an adventure that soon turns into a journey of self-discovery as she travels into the unknown. And this film was obviously directed by the previous directors who originally made this film, Chris Rock and Jennifer Lee, and stars Christy Bell, Idina Menzel, and a whole bunch of other people, including Josh Gad as Olaf, who we all love and know. And the thing I like about this film is that the animation, in my opinion, is 10 times better than the first one. The first one had good animation, but this one looks better. It's very photorealistic at times, which is kind of creepy. Like when Elsa's running through the ocean trying to control her powers, it's so photorealistic to the point where I'm like, is this actual water? It just looks so great. And just seeing how like, the company has improved, and like how Disney have kind of like really evolved in their technology, it's just really great. And I have to admit, I do like Elsa, and like just her as a character I thought was really great. A lot of people have been kind of criticizing like the side characters like Anna and Kristoff, but I thought they were pretty cool. I mean, I still love Kristoff's song. Olaf, I have to admit, was one of my favorite parts of the film, like him trying to like self-discover, because now that he's a snowman, he's kind of like making sense of his kind of purpose in the world, and just figuring out what life's all about. And I don't know, I kind of liked it, and I liked his little song about, oh, this will make sense when I'm older. I thought it was really cute and all that. Personally, I feel like the songs in this film were a little better than the first one. I mean, you had your favorites like Do You Want to Build a Snowman, For the First Time Forever, Love Was an Open Door, and Let It Go. But I never liked Olaf's song. I never liked Fixer Upper. I never liked that first song, Frozen Heart. Only those like main core songs. But in this one, like practically all the songs are pretty damn good. Like from Elsa's Into the Unknown to Kristoff's 80s vibe song to Olaf's self-discovery song to Anna's very emotional, teary song near the climax to Elsa's second Let It Go Part 2 song to I'll Show Yourself, that's what it was called, and to the others that I forgot were in this film, like the song in the beginning, I forgot what it was called, but all those songs were just so damn emotional. They had emotional weight to them that even Olaf's song, like I thought made sense and it kind of was important to the story. Like his first song in the first film was just a bit corny and cartoony, a bit fillery, but this one made sense, and I kind of liked it. I thought it had an interesting vibe and it was really funny, and the kids just lost their mind when Olaf was on screen. It was really funny seeing their reaction, and I thought it was really good. I recommend checking it out regardless of what critics say. Go check it out. Number 7 is Joker, and this film came out like during October time, and forever alone in a crowd, failed comedian Arthur Fleck seeks connection as he walks the streets of Gotham City. Arthur wears 2 masks, the one he paints for his day job as a clown, and the guise he projects in a futile attempt to feel like he's part of the world around him. Isolated, bullied, and disregarded by society, Fleck begins a slow descent into madness as he transforms into the criminal mastermind known as the Joker. And the film was directed by Todd Phillips. It was a Todd Phillips film because he wrote and produced this film as well, and stars Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. And this film is not your typical comic book film. You'd think, it's going to be a Joker origin story. It's going to be like, he falls into the acid, he goes crazy, he starts killing people, and then Batman's there. And no, it's not that. It's more character focused. It's diving deep into who the Joker was as a person before he became this criminal mastermind, who he was, and what led up to why he became, who he was, and I feel like when you see it from his point of view, you kind of side with him, and just seeing how people treated him, even people you considered to be heroes, like these lead figures, the way they treated him and people around him, it's disgusting, and it's kind of shocking, to be honest with you. And just the way he evolves and he just starts changing and he starts to become tired of just being treated like dirt. He wants to do something about it. In a way, he becomes the hero in his story, although from a different point of view, it's not really that, heroic. It's kind of messed up at times, but I really just liked this whole pacing. It felt very eerie, it was very dramatic. There's violence in this film, but it's not all out gore, splat. It's not like, oh my gosh, we're going all out in this gory fest. It's very toned back, and it's just a really good story. It's pretty emotional, and a lot of critics were kind of worried that it was going to spark this kind of revolution with people, and but it didn't. It's a film, come on, it's a movie. But I really liked this film. It was beautifully shot. The cinematography in this film was just gorgeous. The shots they chose, and just the mise en scène and everything about it was just great. The pacing felt right and all that lot, and I really enjoyed it. It really made me feel emotional at times. It was a really emotional roller coaster. I recommend checking it out right now. It's one to watch right now, but not one for the family. Number 6, however, is one for the family, and that's Angry Birds 2. Yeah, this film based on a video game, really, this was the surprising film for you? Yeah, the thing is that I kinda didn't like the first Angry Birds film. I thought it was what can you do? It was okay, I suppose, but I just wasn't really into it. The visuals look nice, but it was like meh. But this film was a bit better, you know. So Red, Chuck, Bum, and the next rest of the feathered friends are surprised when the Green Pig suggests that they put aside their differences and unite to fight a common threat. Aggressive birds from an island covered in ice are planning to use a elaborate weapon to destroy the foul and swine way of life. After picking their best and brightest birds and pigs, come up with a scheme to infiltrate the island, deactivate the device, and return to their respective paradise intact. And the film was obviously directed by Trup Van Orman and stars a lot of people. And what I like about this film is that it gets like, I like how the birds and the pigs interact, because obviously in the first one they were enemies and now they're friends, and I kind of liked their interactions, and like just like the comedy in this film is far better in this one. You know, there's a lot of funny gags, a lot of funny moments that actually made me laugh, and the animation is much more improved. You know, when they go to this island and like the character designs on those like character things, you know, bird things, I don't know what they are, they look flipping amazing. Basically Leslie Jones's characters, like, you know, like her character, like I thought they were like all really interesting and unique, and I just like the feathers. Like the feathers look so realistic and great, and the pacing was just really cool. You know, it had this kind of heist feel, and it was had this very fast pacing, and I was really digging the film. You know, it was a pretty fun ball. You know, it was one of the funniest animated films I've seen this year. You know, in my opinion, it was a big surprise. I'm definitely going to say that. I mean, what a ball this film was. I recommend checking it out right now. Yes. And at number 5, Into the Spider-Verse. Now, before you say, boy dude, this film was released in 2018, what you're on about? Well, I didn't see this film in 2018. I watched it in early 2019, around February time, and this film was still in the cinemas when I watched it in 2019. So technically I didn't see it in 2018, I saw it in 2019, so technically it's still a 2019 film to me. And yeah, this film blew me away. Now, I didn't really watch too much of the trailers. I saw bits and clips of it, but I didn't really see this film as much, you know. I haven't reviewed it yet, but I'll review it later on and give my full depth. But this is my brief review of it. And after gaining superpowers from a spider bite, Miles Morales protects the city as SpiderMan. Soon he meets an alternative versions of himself and gets embroiled in the epic battle to save the multiverse. And like, this film was directed by Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman. Story by Phil Lord, and stars a whole bunch of people. And yeah, this film really like surprised me, not in terms of like the you know, like the style of it, but like just the characters, you know, are so great. Miles was a great dude. I mean, even like the Peter Parker, you know, seeing his backstory and seeing where he came from and seeing who he is now, I was really digging it, you know. Every one of these versions of Spider-Man, like the Spider-Gwen, yeah, Spider-Woman, Spider-Girl, whoever you want to call her, I thought she was really good. And all the other ones, like the Spider-Noir guy, Penny Parker, like, and even that Spider-Pig character, I thought were all really great, and just they all added and they all made sense. I wanted to see more of them, and I can't wait for the sequel. But what stand out the most was this animation style. It's in 3D animation, but it's rendered out to look like a 2D comic book, and the style feels like a comic book, and it's so great, you know. Even the way they manipulated the frame rate of the animation, I thought was really good, and gave this kind of illusion that it was a moving comic book, and I really liked it, you know. It's one to watch, and I recommend it. Number 4, Avengers Endgame. Now, I've already reviewed this film, and I've given my non-spoiler review like months ago, and I'll do my spoiler review of this film later on a later date. But yeah, I knew this film was going to be great. Even though I didn't see the trailer, I just knew it was going to be amazing. But in my head, I thought it was going to be different. because I saw some people giving theories on like what could happen. Someone said that this film was going to be mainly focused on like Doctor Strange and Peter Parker going back in time and finding the stone. So was expecting, I don't know why, I was expecting a Peter Parker and Doctor Strange film in this film for the majority of it, and like we've seen bits and pieces of like Tony and like Steve like doing their thing. That's what someone said in like the comments, and I thought, oh, okay, this might actually be what the film was about. And some people I knew kept talking about like Doctor Strange is going to go back in time and get the Infinity Stones and all that lot, and that's what I thought. But when I watched this film, it was not that at all. In fact, the whole plot and where it went in the direction was completely different to what I was imagining. Yeah, the plot of this film is like a lot different and just way better than I could have imagined. Time traveling is used in this film, but it's used differently. And yeah, after Thanos and intergalactic warlord disintegrates half of the universe from Infinity War, the Avengers must reunite and assemble again to reinvigorate their trounced allies and restore balance to the universe. And the film was directed by Anthony and Joe Russo and features a whole bunch of people, and it's the biggest film of all time. It made over $2 billion, and it surpassed Avatar and Titanic, and it's the biggest film of all time, and yeah, it makes sense. This film was like the conclusion of this big Infinity Saga that started with Iron Man 1, and it's the most fan fiction movie I have ever seen, but it's worth it. Like, all the fan fiction elements in this film make sense, and it is earned because of the previous films that set it up. Like, everything you see in this film was just, it's very satisfying seeing this film come into play, seeing all these characters work together, trying to figure out this stuff, going this place, going that place, seeing old faces we haven't seen in time, like, and just, oh, the climax was gorgeous. But the first act is kind of a really, like, it's like a drama film, to be honest with you. It's these characters dealing with the events of Thanos' snap, how they're trying to move on, and like some of them are not dealing so well, doing so well. I'm just really loving it. I'm not gonna give my full review on it because I'm gonna save that video for later on. But just seeing these characters dealing with like how Thanos' snap impacted their life and how it's changed the world is really great. And when they finally get another chance at trying to get the characters back, they fight, and yet again there are some consequences of like meddling with certain elements of nature and like time and all that lot. And it's really, really gripping. It's a really gripping film. I think it might be one of the best MCU films. It's a long film, but it flies by quick, my dude. It's so satisfying to watch, and I'll watch it again. Check it out. I recommend it. Number 3, Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, I have to admit, I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I think he does a good job, but I liked his inclusion in these like movies in the MCU, like the Avengers films and Civil War. But in all honesty, I have to admit, I just didn't really like Homecoming, in my opinion. I didn't think it was that good of a film. I don't know why, but I just wasn't really feeling it. It just felt strange, in my opinion. I didn't really enjoy it, and the more times I watch it, I still don't really feel as invested in that film. But when I watch this one, oh my gosh, it makes you love Peter Parker and Spider-Man even more. As beloved superhero Spider-Man Peter Parker faces four destructive elemental monsters while on holiday in Europe, soon he receives help from Mysterio, a fellow hero with mysterious origins. And that's all I'll say about this film, because the thing I like about this film is that it's a much better paced out film than the first one, the Homecoming movie. And I like Peter Parker as Spider-Man. He's starting to take more of a leadership role, and he's becoming a bit more serious. He's seen the problem, and whether this film is set before or after Infinity War, I'll let you find out, because I don't want to spoil too much about this. So yeah, I just like Peter Parker so much more in this film, and I like the characters. I like his romance with MJ, It's so real. It's so believable, and you ship them so hard together. And I just like him as Spider-Man so much more, He's so much more enjoyable. And as we go towards the end of the film, they take the character into a new direction that we've never seen it before, It's very interesting and very different, and the third home Spider-Man film is going to be very different the way this one ended, And in my opinion, it's the best live-action Spider-Man since Spider-Man 2. It definitely is, It really made me love the character even more, and I'm looking forward to more Tom Holland Spider-Man films. So check it out right now. I recommend it. Just missing the top spot is a film that I never thought was going to be any good, and that's Rocket Man. And this is a biopic film, about Elton John's life, as, he becomes Elton John, And what I like about this film is Taron Egerton's performance as Elton John, and just the fact that they actually make this a musical, really suits the character of Elton John, the person who he is as a person, this kind of like, this, I just love the whole musical elements. It was the biggest surprise of the film because I wasn't expecting it to be a musical, and when they added those musical scenes, it was more like in his head. Like every time a musical sequence happened, it was all in his head, and it came back to reality, and I really did like that. I thought it was really good because it showed you that Elton John's life wasn't all great. He was dealing with a lot of stuff, behind the scenes, and all those musical scenes were just him imagining what the situation could have been like, in his world, in his head, and I really like that, And the cinematography and the lighting in this film is really glamorous and amazing, and I just like I know it's a biopic and it's not 100%, but I just was really loving this film, and when it came to an end, I was really sad. I didn't want it to end, to be honest with you. I thought there could be more, and I was like, oh man, did it have to end? And it was just a really fun movie, a really enjoyable flick, I just was really digging this performance and the film, and just great. But before I give you my tops, I'm going to give you some honorable mentions, and I'm going to give Aladdin 2019 an honorable mention. It's not a good film, I'll say that out of the bat. Aladdin was pretty poor. Like the visual look, I didn't like the villain. He didn't look like a villain. He just looked like a dude who was trying to pretend to be bad. But my gosh, the guy who played Aladdin was also not that good. But Will Smith was the best part of the film. Everyone went into this film thinking he was going to be terrible, but every time he was on screen, I actually really thought he was cool. I also think the way they remade the musical scenes like Prince Ali and Never Had a Friend Like Me, I kind of like these song versions better than the original one. I think they're more funkier and upbeat, and they pace well with the visuals, I thought they did a really damn good job, adding this Fresh Prince of Bel-Air vibe to it and not copying Robin Williams, making it a Will Smith version of this film. Like, I thought it was really good, and it was a really good idea, and it was a really good direction. And Jasmine as a character was a lot better in this film because she was already great in the first one, but I kind of liked her in this one as well, I just felt she was well written and well rounded and just so much better, and I liked her song as well. It was really good, but it's still a pretty meh film. Klaus wasn't released in the cinema, it was released on Netflix, but I watched it recently and it was pretty beautiful. It's a 2D film rendered to look like a 3D film, and just for me, the story was really good, but I couldn't stop looking at it. I just thought it was so appealing to look at. Like, I just was like, how did they do this? Like, 2D animation that's kind of shaded to look 3D. Wow, it looked pretty and amazing, But it wasn't really released in theaters, so yeah. Hustlers was also a film that I completely forgot to add on my list. That was a really interesting story, even though it was based on real events. I liked all the characters' portrayals, and heck, even Jennifer Lopez J-Lo did a really great job doing this character. And also How to Train Your Dragon 3, it looks visually beautiful, and it was a very satisfying end to the trilogy, but it was a little bit disappointing as well. What can you say? But coming at number one, now I've done my honorable mentions, this is my number one movie that was released this year. And this film really surprised me because, in all honesty, I had no expectations. I just thought it was going to be this movie franchise made some short films during its time, and I never really got into them. I just thought it was going to be a short story stretched out into a feature-length film, but it's so much better than that, and that is Toy Story 4. Like, this is definitely the most surprising and best film of this year, in my opinion, and it seems that it's set directly after the events of the first one, and Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and the rest of the gang embark on a road trip with Bonnie and a new toy named Forky. The adventure journey turns into an unexpected reunion as Woody's slight detour leads him to his long-lost friend Bo Peep. As Woody and Bo discuss the old days, they soon start to realize that they are worlds apart when it comes to what they want from a life as a toy. And in all honesty, this film was just flipping amazing. Like, Woody as a character changes and evolves so much in this film, and by the end of the film, it's great. I also love Bo Peep and who she's become, and just how strong and independent she is, and just amazing. I also just love the story. Like, Forky as a character was just really interesting and inventive. The whole story. It's kind of like seeing life without Andy and how these toys are dealing with it. And how they still want to be wanted and loved. And like how Bonnie, even though she loves these toys, she doesn't always play with them. Not all of them. She's not like Andy, how Andy used to play with all of them. But Bonnie is a different person, and she won't always play with this, all the toys. She will play with one particular toy, and some of the toys they want to feel more like, they want to feel more wanted, and like, it's really great. And other characters in this film are just there, and just whoa, they're really great. And just the animation, like the first scene, the opening scene, is the most photorealistic animation I've ever seen. It's raining and Woody is just like trying to save a toy, and it's so great. I've done a full review of it, so check it out. And it's just a pretty film. It's got a lot of heart, and it's actually the best in the series, in my opinion. I like the first three, but my god, this film is definitely like the epilogue. It acts as the epilogue, in my opinion, to the Toy Story franchise, and you should definitely check it out. It was a big surprise, and I wasn't expecting anything more from this film, and it was great. And that is my most surprising yet best film of 2019. And yeah, it's been a really great year coming for 2020, and what it's going to be showing. There's going to be a lot of interesting movies, coming out this year. Films that I am looking forward to, films that I am not looking forward to, and yeah, 2020, bring it on for films. But thank you for watching this review. Please like and share the video and comment down below and tell me what was your favorite film of this year. With that said, thank you for watching, and as always, Boy Dude Reviews signing out.